Hey, what's up, Group Coach Nation? So glad to be here. And you know what's cool is Christine and I are totally just getting to know each other. We did not have like the traditional we hung out and now we're friends, which is way more fun for a show like this. But there's a reason that I have Dr. Christine Leah here on our call today. I'm honestly really about to take notes. So Christine, thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I've really been having fun so far, and I look forward to bringing more fun to you and your listeners and having fun with you today, too. Thank you
Yeah,
for having
we'll
me.
have a great time. Both of us have dogs in our studios, so get ready for a ride. Sorry about the audio quality. So, okay, let's dive in here. And as always, if you're watching live, you're welcome to chime in and ask questions. This is going to be a really great one. 'Cause here's what's going on. All right, Christine is a legit therapist. The doctor in front of her name is real. I've been the recipient of some amazing help from therapists over the years that have helped me so much in my own life, not just professionally, but also personally. And I want to start this episode with just I guess a high five, a fist bump to all of you out there. Like, if you're working on something in your head and your heart, go get help. There's no shame in that. I think the world has changed, our culture's changed. Everybody's cool with that stuff now. We talk about it all the time with people here on our show. This is a business show, right? You see it on TV, it's okay. Go get the help you need. Find a place you can afford. Find the therapist that's right for you, and start working on you. You're worth it.
Yeah, I would back you up on that. And it makes me feel quite old to hear that everything is much more acceptable because when I started as a psychologist, it really was much more of a quiet, behind the scenes, nobody really knows kind of thing to be engaged in. And now it really is seen more as a productive, almost a courageous thing to do. And it really is a courageous thing to do to say, I'm going to take time out of my day and decide I'm going to invest in myself. We're doing all this investing in systems and software and coaching, but the big vehicle is you. And that's a lot of what I have to say. Basically, that's the theme that you are the gold, you are the genius, you are the magic, and we have to help you feel well before your business can actually do really well.
Oh my gosh, you made me feel emotional just saying that. You hardly ever, Christine, hear somebody honestly look in the camera and just say, "You're the gold, you're the magic, you're the vehicle." When you said you're the vehicle, that really resonated with me because we do. You're right. We invest all of you wonderful people listening and watching right now, Group Coach Nation, you guys are all awesome. Y'all invest with us to learn processes, systems, how to build your coaching businesses and scale and all that stuff. But you're the vehicle. If you're broken or not running effectively, everything else just isn't going to work out the same way. You first. You first. Okay. Thank you for being here. So here's originally why I asked Christine to be on the show, is because she talks a lot about procrastination and anxiety and all the stuff that we go through. Those are two big categories that are completely different in some ways or very connected depending on how you wire this thing out. We got to work on us. So if we can we start talking about anxiety first, Christine? Okay, let me just be really. I love being open and honest with everybody here at Group Coach Nation. This is the coolest group of people, Christine. I'm so glad you're getting to hang out with us. Right now, I feel anxiety. Like this moment, right now. The way that happens for me, I've gone through lots of different versions of this, but we all experience anxiety in different ways. I have no fear of being on the camera. I'm over that. That happened years ago. I'm not worried about microphone. I'm not worried about if I say the right or wrong thing. And yet my heart is I can feel my heart racing and pounding when I get on stages, even my own stage, every time. Um, and I feel that on sales calls. I feel it when I feel it just frequently when it's like, oh, it's Monday, let's go to work. And there's nothing stressful going on. I carry this stress there. I've been to a cardiologist and blah, blah, blah. I'm healthy. But anxiety is real. And I've kind of built my mind and my body into these habits of stress that may or may not be there in the moment, but I live with it, I hear that so often. Where do we go with that stuff?
Well, that's your particular example is may not be such a common one where
Mm,
actually you are able to function very competently and confidently through physiological hyperactivity.
Mm.
I kind of put that term there. That's not a formal term, but it's just that your anxiety system is perhaps overactive,
Mhm.
or just you're very attuned to it. So where someone else has got the same heart rate, but they're not paying attention to it, or it's not registering to them, but that you are very attuned to what is going on in your body. And that is giving you feedback. Oh, I'm anxious. You may not be as anxious as you're you're indicating.
Ah,
And that it may be just kind of your relationship with how your heart is operating, and that you might all probably someone's told you in the past you can think of it as excitement rather than anxiety, and that's a perception
ah.
shift. But I don't I'm not sure that
No,
technique.
that's a really great tip. I never thought about that.
Oh, okay. Well, if no one said that, you could think I'm excited and my heart is, adrenaline is starting because I've got a big day ahead and I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Or the mic is on, I'm really excited. And probably a lot of this is going to apply to our listeners and the people who are watching right now, because we have our heart that is really carrying us through everything, right? That's the
Mhm.
same point of, without feeling well, without saying, oh, actually, I'm not having a panic attack, I'm not having a heart attack, I'm actually just excited, can actually make all the difference the next time you turn on the mic, is
I
saying,
see.
oh, it's just something that I can put aside. I don't have to keep tabs of how my heart is doing while I'm interviewing my next guest.
Mhm.
And gradually over time, you start seeing that pattern in other areas of your life. When you're making dinner, when you're getting the mail, oh, I can actually rest. I can be at rest and not have to be anticipating the next thing. I don't have to anticipate failing. I don't have to anticipate money loss. I don't have to anticipate a mic failing.
Yeah.
And of course, all these things can happen, but we want our body to be the vehicle,
Mm.
I'm not a race car, but it's the Formula One stuff, right? A Formula One race car, ready to go, top notch,
Mhm.
fixed really quickly, and in prime condition to go when we
Mm.
need it to go. And that's when we wake up in the morning, right? This
Yeah.
is not just for the launch week, not for the live stream. It's for every moment of our life. When the dog is upset, we want to not be freaking out first. We want to say, okay, what do I need to do to calm this situation down so I
Mhm.
can get onto the podcast? It's really maximizing your brain and your body and saying, my heart is okay at the same time. So
Mm.
that this, I would imagine if I were a Formula One crew member, that my heart would be racing all the time. I'd be worried about screwing up, perhaps, but perhaps there are some Zen crews that are just like, we've got this. We're so prepared. We are so excellent at our particular zone of genius, which is this car, and acting as a team, that they don't have to go through that
Mm.
accelerated pulse and all of that. And so that may just be a general framework for our listeners. What can you do today that will take you 2 to 3 minutes that will help you to have a better understanding of how your mind and body work together,
Oh,
and how your anxiety tends to interfere with the good functioning of your mind and body? Your mind and body are created for high performance. So this isn't something that you have to build up to. It's really all the stuff that we've piled onto our operating system that has suppressed our highest functioning sometimes. So that's the stress, that's the imposter syndrome, that's the comparison with everyone else, that's the worry, that is the distraction, and the gaming,
mm.
and the whatever else you're doing. And I'm a big TikTok fan, so I'm in there as well. But I enjoy TikTok. I don't let it stress me out. I think
Yeah.
some people who are on TikTok are probably enjoying it and stressing out because they know time is leaving me. Time is leaving me. And you just want to develop a nice relationship with yourself, essentially saying, I don't have to yell at myself. I don't have to freak out every time someone criticizes me. I could just learn how to recover and know that I am well. At real baseline, I am good, I am expert, I am healthy, I am strong, and I am well.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Let's say I get in that mindset, which takes a minute. and then I show up in the studio for all of us, whatever your stress point is. And I'm going to get to procrastination in a second, but I get there and the anxiety hits because all of a sudden, you know, your team member has already sent you a message and said, so and so problem just happened. So and so stressful client just called, and boom, you're back in the thick of all the stuff you don't want to be in. How do you build a habit of putting that crappy stuff on pause for a second so you can get back in a place of strength and deal with the stuff that is hard to deal with?
Well, you've said a lot there. And I would say that this is a mindset trick, but I think by using the word trick, I might be speaking down about the technique, because it really is the technique that we don't want to see anything as hard and we don't want to see anything as a problem. And that may sound like a bunch of phooey to everyone who's listening if you aren't familiar with this trick. But if you adopt this mindset that everything is as it is, this stressful client is a client, and we are perceiving that person's complaints or activity or behavior or situation as stressful, but that's our story on that client. That client is just acting as they know best how to do. And another coach might see that stressful client as their dream client, their best behaved client out of all the clients. And I just love thinking about things in that way, because when we think everything is stressful and everything is hard, that's our projection onto that event or that person or that fear or project or that car, the car imagery again. And when you learn that mindset, and it really is a way of thinking, then you have to face your own stuff, which is, what is my responsibility here?
Mm-hmm.
How do I need to handle the stressful client? How do I need to reduce the feeling of stress within my heart so that I can best serve the client? And so I can best serve myself, because when you serve the client, you're also feeding your business and feeding your good vibes as well.
Yeah.
If you're saying, well, that component of my business is stressful and hard, guess what component of your business you're not going to want to address? That component. And really, a healthy business is a business where you know your numbers, you know your clients, you know your deliverables, you know your weaknesses, you know what's going on next year, and you know what's inspiring you and what you can draw from. And that's a whole lot. And if you're saying, oh, but that part is hard, that's a part of you that's going to create a weakness in your business where it's just numbers. And I've been taught by my coach that numbers are just such a gift to your business, because you can improve any set of numbers that you have, even though you might not like your current set. And so that kind of advice has really helped my entire life, not just my business entrepreneur practice life. I've learned to see that really nothing is a problem, because we can work through any situation. And I'd like to avoid labeling situations in my life as problems. It really is kind of a boost to your mental health too. It has that added benefit of saying, I'm really good. This life is good and I've got this.
I really appreciate that. That makes sense.
Well, you can thank my coach.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I love how you're the psychologist and you're the one the coach told me with this stuff. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about procrastination. First
Sure.
up, I procrastinate. I don't know why other people procrastinate, but I procrastinate because I either don't like the task at hand, or that task makes me feel icky feelings, anxiety, or it's boring or whatever. Why do just generically, why do we procrastinate? We know Honestly, the things that we procrastinate on are usually the things that are like the best and rightest for us to do.
Yes.
Why do we do that as humans?
Fear and icky feelings.
Okay, well, there we go.
Really, the standard answer that I have is fear.
Mm,
And you're right that most of the things that are going to get us the furthest or give us the biggest lesson that is most meaningful to us in a real way are the things that are going to generate the most fear because they are new to us and because they seem challenging or are challenging. And those are the things that you want to train yourself like a formula. I would be terrified to drive one lap in a car like that, just one lap at regular speed. I would probably be frightened, right? But that is because it's new and because it seems like a challenge and because there's a fear of maybe dying.
yeah.
And the thing that we do is that we have this habit, I think, of perceiving things as being scarier than they actually end up being. And we've all been there where, oh my God, the dread of having to put away the ornaments or the Halloween decorations. You think that's going to be so horrible, but it really takes you maybe 20 minutes and then your living room is clean. It's that emotional drama that is layered on top of the task that is really what we're avoiding approaching. It's not really the task. And you want to get to a point where everything really just is a task list. And that will, again, take a little bit of emotional and mindset work, but you can get there. You can say, build a business. You could actually put that on your to do list and not freak out about it. And of course, many people do freak out about it. I waited to publish a podcast or start my podcast for 4 years, at least 4 years. And a friend of mine who was in the podcast industry said, Christine, you're going to just love this and it's going to be so good for you and your business and you're meant for this. And before you start a podcast, you can't ever imagine what it's going to feel like on the other side. And maybe you might be delaying your own podcast start as you're listening to this show. But the only thing that is going to get you relief from that worry or that thought, oh, maybe I could have been, is to press publish. And once you press publish, podcasting is actually quite simple a thing to do. And Chris is showing me wonderful ways of doing this live and just making it really easy. And we were chatting about that before he pressed publish and record because we're live here with you. And look, it's just a conversation between human beings. That's podcasting. But I spent 4 years worrying about that.
And you're a professional conversation haver. I mean, that's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, a professional procrastination avoider. But you know what? Some things feel so daunting, so threatening to our egos that we are smart to have the impulse to protect ourselves. We're just holding ourselves back in real time when we actually say, I'm going to stay away from that thing that I'm really drawn to. It's the attraction to the scary thing that is making us scared. And it's the doing of the scary thing that makes us really strong.
That's really helpful. Okay, I got more questions. Oh, before we go on, folks, her website, if you're listening and if you're watching on screen, you've already seen this, but her website is procrastinationcoach.com/start. I'm actually shocked that you have that. That's an amazing URL, by the way. We're all marketers here. So procrastinationcoach.com/start to like get into her world, figure out what's going on, and like find out where you are and how you need help moving forward. So that's super cool website. Tell me, Christine, how do you like as a as a legit therapist, as a psychologist, how do you coach and consult outside of the quote unquote therapy practice, people bringing their deep dark stuff to you and working on the scary things of life, but how do you actually like talk business and talk shop with a bunch of us like entrepreneurs? And because I think it's super cool that I really do, like, I so appreciate you making the jump from the traditional therapy practice to the business coaching, which honestly all of us that are business coaches is kind of half therapy. So I think it's so cool that we have someone with your like background and true expertise helping us all out. How do you work with us?
That's a great question. And I, like you, feel like I was born an entrepreneur. So I feel like this is the kind of stuff that runs through us, that seeing opportunities, seeing how to fix problems, seeing how to bring a new way of looking at things to the marketplace, seeing how we can boost other people's performance. I think that's just how we're wired. And it's an interesting question that no one has asked me before. How did I maybe make that bridge? And I can't say it's been that smooth. I feel it's been a trial and error, put it out there, build a podcast, build a blog, get some clients. And really, the stuff that I do online is I'm not coaching business owners. Some of them are, but mostly it's people who are struggling with procrastination, and I'm teaching the time management, the skills, the mindset to help people function more easily and quickly. And that includes business owners. But I don't think I would say that I have a specific practice with business owners. I will say that the imposter syndrome, the delay, the hesitation, you can see that in any business coaches Facebook group, where it is obviously a celebration when you have the first sale or the first lead come in. It's a wonderful celebration. And there's so much more work to be done because you have to get over fears of all different kinds: fear of being seen, visibility, fear of opening your mouth, communication, and live speaking, and persuasion, fear of being seen as an authority, especially when you don't necessarily think that you really fit the bill sometimes, fear of failure, all the numbers and the costs and the expenditures and the fears that your launch won't actually make the target goal that you have.
Yeah.
These are some heavy fears, and ones that we're not trained in. Most of us are not trained through our formal schooling to cope with that kind of ride. It's more like surfing rather than a smooth, get in the car and go and you get to your destination. It's this windy, sometimes brutal path emotionally. And you have to have support, you have to have guidance, you have to have your numbers, and you have to have that inner strength to say, I am not going to pull back from this. I'm going to stay in, even if the numbers go down, even if I get a hater type of comment, even if I get a troll, even if I get somebody who asks for a refund, heaven forbid. And then when you reach that point where you say, I'm in it, I'm not leaving, then the fun really starts. And then entrepreneurship becomes this ride of expansion, this ride of discovery, this ride of service, this ride of, I'm a Formula One race car now, where you develop your authority and then you can show your authority. And that's the good stuff. It's all good though.
I really want to leave it there. Like, I know we're coming on our time anyway, but I really want to leave it there because you just took that and made a shift. If you didn't catch that, everybody, just like back it up 30, 45 seconds. That shift, that's the mindset shift. Going from perceiving and viewing things and labeling things as problems and scary and oh no, to labeling them correctly as this is a number I can change, or this is an opportunity, or this is something that I don't like, but I'm going to do something about. Take the power back. And back to where we started this. Own the right and the privilege to better yourself. Take care of you.
Yes.
You're the gold here.
Right.
Christine, go procrastinationcoach.com. procrastinationcoach.com/start. Go there. Get to know Christine. Christine, thank you so much for investing some time with us and not charging us for a therapy session.
Well, thank you, Chris, for your openness and honesty and being so much fun.
It's so great to have you. Okay. If everybody, if you have comments about this, as always, you can ask them in the chats down below, and we'll like point you to Christine, or we'll answer if it's about group coaching, mastermind building. If it's about all the stuff we're talking about today, we'll just tag Christine in there and she can answer your questions, because I sure don't know what in the world I'm talking about when it comes to this kind of stuff. Christine, you're awesome. Group Coach
Thank you,
Nation,
Chris.
folks, you guys do the work, get the results. As always, do the work, get the results. Just do the right work, please. Find your expert, lean in, and do the right work. Talk
Drive
soon.
that car.
You drive that car. That's right. All right, everybody. Talk soon.